Hi, this is John with theinfosheets.com. What I'm going to do today is walk you through our customer management system. This is a database designed to keep track of your customers. It's primarily designed for a customer-centric type of business. That is, where the customer is the primary component, and then you have job information for that customer. So not really a storefront. But it is designed for a service business, such as a lawn service, a carpet cleaner, a plumber, a mechanic, a hairstylist. Now, it does have some sales, face-to-face sales. I shouldn't say that it doesn't, but it is customer-centric. Let's look at the hairstylist. I'm going to start by looking at the job information. You can see on this hairstylist we have a pop-down, and we can choose to add fields if we want, such as shampoo, sales, I should say, over fields, and we can make that taxable. You can see how that's updating our total charge. If I made that $400, you can see that it generates change, and everything can be done on the fly. Okay? But also, we don't need to do that expanded area in the case of the lawn service or the carpet cleaner. So we can do quick entry as well. So we can simply write carpet cleaning, 4 rooms, and $100. And you can see that it automatically generated an amount paid to match the total charge. And the completion date, if I said today, it's going to make the paid on date the same. We can disable that, and we might do that for someone that's doing billing, or of course for our face-to-face sales. Let's go ahead and show you how that would disable. And that is simply with this button there. So now if we entered in $100, as we might for some other item, or completion date, it doesn't auto-generate that information. So it's really made to be that little extra speed increases your data entry person by probably 3 lines. And I think that's very effective when they're doing 100 data entry items. So very important to have, but a lot of the times you're doing face-to-face sales or very slow entry, and you just want that disabled. All right, so the auto mechanic might have lots of some hourly stuff, some sales, and he might generate that. Let's look at some of the functions that we have, and that is that we can make various invoices, and we can view, print, save, or email all of these different invoices, including receipt printers and other fields. We can make future appointments, so we can have an appointment book. And I'm going to show you through everything and then give you a little more detail. So we can do our income and sales tax, our list of customers, our accounts receivable, our appointment book. We can view, print, save all of those items. And then we can have our top line where we can go straight into Google Maps, and it'll actually take this address and put it into Google Maps, and you can verify that's correct. You have search function, so you can find your customer so that you can then data enter them. And you can print the screen in a very nice formatted way so that it doesn't print all that blue and weird coloring, but fits on the page. And you can do a grab and go of this particular customer information. So having done that, let me walk you through a little slower now. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of our invoices. And I'm going to look at our auto mechanics invoice, and that is what's called an invoice detail. You notice I click the show buttons off. Whatever we click on show is going to show our invoice, and they're going to be added together. So if lots of them owe you money, lots of invoices to the same client, you can give them a summary invoice so that they will pay you. So let's go ahead and look at that. This is essentially a receipt since they've already paid us, and we can see they owe us no money, and it shows everything we've done for them. If we were to use a receipt printer, you can see the same thing, and that is simply a 57 millimeter, and we have used a Star TSP 100 printer for this and made sure everything formatted properly. For that particular printer, we need a 1-inch spacer, which comes with the printer, to make a 57 millimeter work. And it's primarily designed for the 80 millimeter. And that gives you a wider print. Okay? Now, I showed you a detail. Now let's show you a summary, and that will click everybody's and view that. Now you see it just has that summary line. It doesn't have the detail line, but everything was totaled together. We have one person that doesn't have a paid date, but we see that there's no paid due. Now that means that we've done something improperly and that we didn't have a paid date here. The reason why we need paid dates when they've paid us is because you have to be able to see when they've paid you or if their account's receivable in order to do your income properly. So just make sure of that. Let's go ahead and view that invoice again. Alright, so everything is proper. If you were to have no paid date and they didn't pay you and viewed the invoice, you showed they still owed you some money. Okay? We can also add together. We can also add together details. So let's go ahead and do that. You can see that the details are added together. Okay? So they owe us. By the way, the due date is 2 weeks following the last completion date. So it went from 10/12 to 10/26 as the due date. So it auto-figured that due date for you. Now we can view, print, save, or email any of these. Save them gives you any type of format, including an Excel file or a PDF. And email automatically opens your default email client. In this case, it's Thunderbird. Attaches an invoice and gives a subject line. In your signature line, you might even put a PayPal link to have them pay. So you might set up Thunderbird with a PayPal or your own website that might actually have a pay now button. But you'll send them an invoice with that. And this invoice, and let's go ahead and view it so you can see that what it looked like. It's exactly what it looked like in our view. And again, we're sending that particular invoice. So if you had a different one selected, that is the one that would have been sent, okay, to this email address. Let's walk you through the top line. And we already showed you the click to map. The first button is a save button, so it simply saves your customer. It's not really required because whenever you navigate, you're also saving. The next button is an add record button, and just gives you a new area to type in your customer. And you just type in what you want to do. Customer strength is a nice field that I added to allow you. You might choose to have a good customer have a 4, a really bad customer have a 1, and maybe you don't want to call your 1s. Maybe you only want to call your 2s. You can choose how you want to use it. Maybe you never use 1 except for the rare person that cussed at you. Okay? So let's so that customer strength allows you to hide what you want. That's the only way. And then of course you have note field where you can just say this particular person is diabetic, maybe. I don't know. I don't know why I said that. But you want to know something particular about them, and maybe you're a food place and you can't give them sugar. I don't know. Let's move on. All right. So our search field opens up the search dialog, and we're going to find, for this case, Brown. And notice how it says note, because that's where my cursor was. Switch it to customer, which is all of this information, not just note. And then any part of field so that it'll just find those 5 letters anywhere. So there's Brown, Miss Joan. There's Brown's Electric. Notice that even though it was an impartial, it still found it. Find next. I often search with the address when they call. So I think that's very useful too. All right, let's go ahead and navigate, and we can hit the delete button, and it'll delete all of the customer and the job if you say OK. Let's go to the beginning record again. Finally, we have the print screen button. I showed you that already. And then, of course, we have the help file. So the help file is editable. You can highlight if you like. You can type in if you want. Basically, if you have a business that you have salesmen, you want to be able to maybe put a little more information that might be pertaining to them. All right, so we've gone through the top line and the secondary line. Let's look at our company information, and that is basically where you put your address block as well as your company name, and that and you can set your tax rate. Nothing really needing to be explained there. Now, this is new to version 13 in that I have a backup database button. The backup database button is very necessary, and I decided to make it that way to be very quick. It did a date and a timestamp in military time. So right now it's 5:26 p.m. and this is the date. Okay, so it just created one and it put it in. I'll show you in a minute. It also has export to Excel and import from Excel. You have multiple tables. The main one is the customer table. That is all the name, address, and that information of the customer. Below it is, you don't really need the help table to back up that, but the job or the job expanded. Job is the first line, the summary line, and the job expanded was those lines underneath. Now they're all related in that they'll have ID numbers, and they all are connected by those ID numbers. So that's why importing and exporting is a little bit complicated in any database. I expect you to export to Excel, and once you exported the table you want to import, you then look at it and look at what your import is, get them mixed together after you've done a backup, and then do your import. Okay? All right, let's close that. Finally, let's look at our nice reports. We have an appointment book, and let's go ahead and we have accounts receivable. Again, I've made this very simple in that you select what you want and then what you want to do with it. Okay? The accounts receivable has a date filter. So let's say for the next 2 years we can view that report. Okay? So we have, in the next 2 years, someone owes us, hasn't paid us $325, or in the last 2 years. We can print that, or we can save that in any file format, including PDF and Excel. And then maybe we want to manipulate it in Excel to make charts or whatever else. Give it to our bookkeeper, who knows. Income and sales tax, let's go ahead and view that report. We only have one customer that's done any work for us. And the nice thing about this is also totaling your tax that you've received from them, their sales tax. So you can make your quarterly reports and pay your sales tax to the government. Okay, again, it's date filterable, so it could be a month, it could be a week. All right. Finally, let's look at our appointment book. Now, our appointment book, we have no appointments. Let's go to, maybe we can find one. Yes, we have one appointment. So we're going to be raking in the money this year. All right. But very nice. And again, you can view, print, save. Finally, we have our list of customers. And this is one of the reports that I really love. And that is, it's going to give you a list of all your customers. Now just imagine I have 1,500 customers. And it's job connected to customers. So it'll only list your customers that you've done work for. But imagine I've done 1,500 customers and I want to keep a copy in my phone. I just simply download it as a PDF and then put that PDF in my phone and open up Adobe PDF Reader, and I can search and find it, and it doesn't even need to have the internet to do that. Okay, because you can just keep a copy of your PDF with you. And I believe that's that. All right. So now let's go to where this import-export is. But let me summarize this database. You put your customer information in here. You put your job information in here. You can do quick typing in 2 lines about what it is after you hit Add New. Boom, you have your customer. You can then generate your income report, everything you want. Very quick, very easy, very painless. Now let me show you about the import-export. So basically in your documents is where it's installed, and it's installed into the folder Info Sheets. It's not going to have this many items running, but basically the full file that is running is this, ACCDR. It's version 113, and if we click on it, it opens. So this pretty little icon is simply directing it to this, which is the only file you need. All right? In the backups, it's the same file, except it's backed up at this date. So they're not being updated, they're not being connected as you're working on them, they're simply a backup. So every time you hit the backup button, it creates another backup. Now let's say you created a new backup, you give it to your data entry girl, she put it on a USB drive, she opens it, she updates it, you put it back into your database. Now you copy that, you paste it over here, you rename your original, and now you rename this, you get rid of its time date stamp. Now your link is going to open that one because it's back to the original name. Now you have your you have your updated database, and you didn't delete anything, so you can switch it back if you want. So that's how you handle your database. That's how you let some outside person update it for you. No problems. Okay. Next, let's look at your Excel sheets where it's downloaded your data for importing into another database or importing into your current database. So before you import, do an export. Copy this headings, paste that into your old program's Excel sheet. We'll just use the second page. Oops. Paste that into your export of your old database, whatever it happened to be. Now drag things into the right columns without changing. So if they had last name, make sure remove the part name and get everything accurate. And then I would have their headings might be here, for instance. So you would just simply be moving things around. And then remove their headings. And then you'll have basically it wants to find these field names to import. Okay? So it's a little complicated to import, plus customer numbers can't be duplicated. I have a whole video to show you importing, but it is up to you to keep from polluting your data. Okay? So I wanted to give you a little bit of a demo of that. It's a little complicated. No worries on it as long as you are careful and you back up first so that you can always throw away your work and start over. Let's go back to an install. Let's start by going to our database, to our website. Our website is called theinfosheets.com. When you purchase it from PayPal, you can also download it as a trial, and that trial is limited to 10 customers. So you can data entry 10 customers. When you try and enter the 11th customer, it'll say, sorry, we won't do that. If you only have 10 customers, I guess you can use the trial. but most people will need to purchase it to be able to put in an 11th or 12th customer. But go ahead and download that, try it out. If you like it, purchase it. You will also need to install Microsoft Access 2007. Now, it's a runtime, so it costs you nothing, and here's the link to it. Microsoft Access allows you to download it for free. It's basically the back engine to run the program. All databases use a back engine to have them work. In many cases, it is unseen as a second download. It's connected. But the problem with that is it makes it not nearly as portable. It also makes it so it can't be emailed. I preferred to keep it separated. And I think that way, if someone has a problem, their email, for instance, refuses something, it could be re-emailed or something like that. Or actually, I should say, if it's a really large file, it can't be emailed, and so they wouldn't accept it. So it has to go back to a download link, and that download link maybe you didn't see the first time. So when you purchase it, you get both the immediate download link and the immediate email to your email. So make sure you insert your email there, and that way it'll go both ways and you'll get it. All right, that's basically that. Now let's walk you through the install. And when it's downloaded as a zip file. Notice how small that is, 694 kilobytes. No problems. All of your emails will get that. Then, of course, you expand it by right-clicking, extract all. Then you'll get a folder. You'll hit the setup.exe, hit yes. Since it's already installed, it'll only give me the option of repair or remove. We're going to hit remove. That way I can walk you through the install. There are no toolbars, no extras, nothing that is going to mess up your computer as long as you download it from my website. If you download it from a sales site such as downloads.com, just say you don't want those. It'll give you those options. I guess it's a pre-install thing. So that's up to you. But in any case, now that it's installed, it's all set and ready to go. This is a very good program in that it's very complete yet easy to use. And I think a lot of people stare at these things and just get so confused. But we have pretty little buttons that do what they look like. You add new, you give it information, and you can create multiple invoices, multiple types of reports, including an appointment book. And I think you'll find this program works very well to make your business expand. If you don't have information, you're not going to be able to make that extra sale. You're definitely going to lose more than $50. And then, of course, by having it enter faster, you will be able to save time, which is also is money. So I think you'll have a very complete program that will allow your business to thrive. I hope you like this video, and if so, you can purchase it or give it a trial and maybe help your business grow. Thank you. This has been John Hilbrands with theinfosheets.com.